Hello, friends. Today we are plunging into the mysterious world of mysticism and the inexplicable. In this video, I will tell you 3 of the most mystical stories found on the vastness of Reddit. These stories will make you believe in the existence of otherworldly forces and open doors to worlds that are hidden from us by the ordinary eye. If you like creepy and mysterious stories, be sure to stay until the end, like and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new scary stories. Now, make yourself comfortable, and let's get started. Story 1: A mysterious figure in the night. Hello everybody. My name is Alex, and I usually don't really believe in the paranormal, but what happened to me a few years ago still haunts me. It happened when I was a teenager, and my friends and I went hiking in the forest, not far from our city. We often made such outings, and usually everything went off without incident. But one night something strange happened. We set up tents near a small lake and, as usual, sat around the campfire, telling scary stories. When it began to get dark, we heard a strange sound coming from the depths of the forest. The sound was like a soft rustling or whispering, which increased with each passing moment. We thought it was just the wind, and decided not to pay attention to it, but the sound continued to increase, and soon it became like barely perceptible breathing. I decided to go check out what was going on there. Taking a flashlight, I headed deeper into the forest, trying to find the source of the sound. The further I got from the camp, the louder this strange whispering became. And so, a few minutes later, I noticed something between the trees. In the light of the lantern, I saw a figure standing at the edge of the clearing. She was tall and black, with no face or other obvious signs that she was human. My heart skipped a beat. I stood and stared at this creature, unable to move. Suddenly, the figure began to move slowly towards me. I realized that I had to run, but my body seemed to refuse to obey me. The figure came closer and closer until it was only a few meters away from me, and then she just disappeared. Without hesitation, I rushed back to the camp. When I returned, my friends were already on their feet, alarmed by my absence and the strange whispers that came from everywhere. I tried to tell them what I saw, but they just laughed, considering it a prank. We decided to leave the forest immediately and return home. I haven't been to those places since. From time to time when I go to bed, I dream about this figure. I still can't figure out if it was a figment of my imagination or something more real. If anyone has had similar experiences, I'd like to hear your stories. Story 2: Ghost Neighbor. Hello everyone. My name is Emily, and I want to share a story that happened to me a few years ago when I moved into a new house. I rented a small apartment in an old building, which, as I was later told, had a long and rich history. But no one warned me that I wouldn't be the only one living in this apartment. The first few weeks in the new house were quiet, but one night I heard strange noises coming from the next room. At first I thought it was just an old house creaking in the wind, but the sounds were too distinct. Those were the steps. They sounded slow and confident, as if someone was walking around the room. I left the bedroom and turned on the light and went to the room where the footsteps were coming from. But when I opened the door, the room was empty. I looked at every corner, even looked under the bed, but I didn't find anyone. It was strange, but I decided to put it down to fatigue and went back to bed. The next night it all happened again. I heard footsteps again, but this time they were louder and faster. I felt a chill run down my spine and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I picked up my phone and recorded the sound to make sure it wasn't just my imagination. Footsteps were clearly heard on the recording, and at one point even a quiet laugh. I started to get interested in the history of the house and found out that a man named Jack lived in this building many years ago, who died under mysterious circumstances. Some said that his spirit still dwells in the house. It was enough to make me panic. I decided to invite a paranormal specialist to sort out the situation. He spent several hours in the apartment using his appliances and equipment, and said that he really felt the presence of something unusual. He offered to clean the house, which I did. After that, the footsteps stopped, but sometimes I still feel a cold wind passing through the room or see shadows flickering in the corners. Since then, I have decided not to be interested in the history of this house anymore and just move on. But sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't done the cleansing. Perhaps this ghostly neighbor would still be walking around my house. Story 3: The Missing Train. Hey guys, my name is Brian, and I want to tell you a story that happened to my friend a few years ago. This is one of those stories that is hard to believe, but I know this man too well to consider his words a lie. My friend Mike was a railroad worker. One night he was on duty at the station when he was informed of an unusual situation. One of the trains following the standard route did not arrive at the final station. The train driver and his entire team disappeared without a trace. At first, everyone thought it was a mistake or a technical glitch, but when they started checking the surveillance cameras, something strange was discovered. Cameras at the station recorded an approaching train, but when it was supposed to enter the platform, it simply disappeared from the screen. No trace, no explanation. Mike was involved in search operations. They checked every inch of the way, looked through the records, interviewed witnesses, but found nothing. It seemed that the train had simply disappeared into thin air, along with all the passengers and crew. A few weeks after his disappearance, Mike had a dream. In this dream, he was standing on the same platform and saw the train slowly approaching him. When the train stopped, the doors opened, and he saw that there was no one inside. Empty seats, empty corridors, everything is like in an abandoned ghost train. Since then, Mike started seeing this train every night when he was on duty at the station. He said that he felt a strange attraction to this place, as if the train was trying to tell him something. One night he couldn't stand it and decided to go to the tracks, hoping that the train would appear again. He didn't tell me exactly what he saw, but he said he never wanted to go back to that station again. After that incident, he quit his job and moved to another city. I do not know what happened to Mike that night, but I am sure that this story is much scarier than he is willing to admit. These stories remain a mystery to me, and perhaps it's better to leave it that way. If you have had such mystical experiences, share your stories. It will be interesting to find out what is happening in this world beyond our understanding.